The following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Maybe we can still heal you. Why? So you could just lock me up? No. Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. Because they knew death was better than bondage.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me.
In the hell do you think you are?
Okay, it's not working out. I'm gonna need the suit back.
For how long?
Forever. Yeah, that's
No,
how it
no,
works.
please,
Let's have it.
You don't understand. This is all I have. I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it. Okay?
So, West Coast, Macho Man Vandal Savage. That's right, no Uncle Oz. We'll get to that later. So, West Coast, we are recording on Mother's Day, and what a lovely day it is. Shout out to all the moms out there. Shout out to the comic moms. Shout out to my wife. A great mom she is in her first year. West Coast, what kind words do you have to say on this lovely Mother's Day?
Oh, if it wasn't for you mothers, we wouldn't all be here. So thank you for having us. Point blank, period. You guys are spectacular people, and we love you.
Pretty much. That pretty much sums it up. West Coast, I know you're filling in here last minute for Uncle Oz, and we've had a couple of discussions here, and you have some opinions about our topic of conversation, which was sidekicks last week. You have some strong opinions about that. We were going to continue sidekicks this week, but Uncle Oz, which we'll get to again later, is not here. So we're gonna touch on it, but we're gonna really dive back deep into it next week. So West Coast, what are your thoughts on the topic of sidekicks and specifically NWA?
So the more I thought about it, the more I listened to it, the more I laughed, because you guys were both wrong. Neither Cube nor Dre were actually the leader. Eazy-E was the leader. They were both sidekicks. So it kind of made it a moot point. Like, who's the bigger sidekick, I guess, is what it turned itself into. Who's the better sidekick? I don't know. But I kind of gave you an analogy that if it was NWA, then Eazy-E is Leonardo. If it was NWA and the Ninja Turtles, rather. Eazy-E is Leonardo. Ice Cube would be more like a Raphael, who's a sidekick, but he could step in as a leader if it need to be. But in reality, they're all sidekicks to the leader. So, Dre turned into more like a Donatello, leaving Yella as more like a Michelangelo.
Well, I put it to a poll. I put it on Twitter, and I asked who was the sidekick between Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. And with 60% of the vote, Dr. Dre was chosen as the sidekick between the two.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That actually is almost exactly what I just said. Like, anytime Leonardo was missing, Raphael stepped in as the leader. Donatello was just the tech guy. And in reality, Dre made the beats. So he was the tech guy.
I still think Cube was the leader of NWA. Eazy-E may have been the most popular.
No, you'd have to read from, these are from their words, not mine. Eazy-E was the leader of NWA.
I don't know. Who is the sidekick between Eminem and Dr. Dre?
Now, see, that's where it became way more of a Morpheus Neo situation. They were equally necessary for each other because Eminem wouldn't exist without Dre, so he technically can't be a sidekick to him. Like, I don't think Eminem's tape would have been pulled out of the garbage by anybody else. You know what I mean? I don't think there would have been another producer that was sitting there going, you know what? This kid got something. And pulled it out. Because when Dre found it, he found it literally in a garbage can. So he became more of a mentor, more of a Morpheus. He taught. Like, if you think about it from Morpheus and Neo's perspective, Morpheus taught Neo the ways of the Matrix, and then Neo transcended the Matrix.
Yeah, Morpheus was his sidekick.
You can kind of, but how is a teacher a sidekick?
Oh, very, very easily. Very easily. A mentor.
Like, what other example?
A mentor could very easily be a sidekick, as they're not the lead. Like they're not taking the lead. They're just kind of giving advice on what they should do. Oh, you should have did it like this. That's so. I kind of take it as Batman Beyond with Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is the sidekick to Batman Beyond, and he's still the mentor, but he's definitely the sidekick.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Because he, like, there's no question that M wouldn't be there without Dre, and the Batman Beyond wouldn't be there without, and Neo wouldn't have been there without Morpheus. No question. But I still think once they become who they're supposed to be, that mentor takes a back seat.
Right, but the mentor also gets old because at some point the mentor was the lead hero.
Well, that's true. But in Neo Morpheus' case, Morpheus just took a back seat because Neo became that guy. It ain't nothing to do with him getting old. In that case.
Well, it kind of did, though. Like, Morpheus had to teach Neo how to do what he had to do.
Right.
And once Neo actually got all the way through and once he figured out that he could see the Matrix clearly, regardless of where he was, like, he was the only one that could do that.
We still in the first movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was the only one that could do that. Like, everybody else, nobody, the twins that were sitting in the cockpit reading the screens, one of them was like, oh, you don't see that and you don't see that. Like, they could, but they also couldn't plug in. They were born in it. Or they were born free. Like, Neo was the only one that was plugged in that could actually still see the code.
It's just, there has, like, a mentor can't, like, I don't know. I feel like if they're in the field, there's not just like a mentor category. It's either you're the hero or you're the sidekick. And then it breaks down into, are you the mentor sidekick, the ally sidekick, the protege sidekick? But I think they're all sidekicks.
I'm with Oz on that one. I feel like a mentor should get its own category. Like that would be like it's the equivalent of you being in third grade and having somebody teach you your times tables the first time, right? That's your mentor. That's your teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, if you then somehow later on in life become a Nobel Prize winning physicist, well, that wouldn't be there without your teacher. Did you surpass them? Sure. But it wouldn't be there without them. Are they your sidekick? Probably not.
If you two worked on a project together, that teacher would be your sidekick because they would be working for you.
If you go back and hire them, still. But I feel like there's still always going to be some deference. You're always gonna defer to their thought process, whether or not it's different. You're going to give what they say a little bit more weight than what a normal person would say, what another person would say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that as far as the mentor's words would definitely have more weight. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. No question.
But like if we look at, again, going back to the Ninja Turtles, Master Splinter, like if Master Splinter was a teenager would he be running the Turtles? Instead, he's an old rat. So since he's old, he can't. But he taught them the ways.
I agree with that. And I would put him like he would be in the mentor. And he would be in the mentor part of the sidekick section.
That's fair. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I do. I understand it. I just don't. I don't think that sidekicks and mentors are the same thing.
You think it's great enough and important enough, really, to kind of warrant its own category?
Yes, I do. I believe that a mentor and a sidekick they're not the same thing. Like the person that teaches you is not ever going to be your sidekick.
So, like, you're saying, like, the person that teaches you would never end up, like, working for you, pretty much.
Oh, they may end up working for you, with you. You may be able to hire them. You may have attained a status where you can hire them on and pay them to help. But in most people's eyes, there's not going to, whoever helped them get to that point is not ever going to be somebody that they are looking, not necessarily down at, because I don't feel like heroes look down at their sidekicks, but I feel like heroes definitely don't look at them equally.
Okay. I get that. I get that. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's a very, I think the whole sidekick concept is very interesting, and it can get very blurry. Like, I mean, just kind of what we're talking about right now with this back and forth. It's almost like, you know, how do you determine? Because then it becomes, how do you determine what makes a sidekick? Because, like, in my eyes, a sidekick is someone who is just not the lead guy. You know, is not the go-to guy. But, you know, there is something to the fact that, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, where the mentor is known as the sidekick. Like, it's known. You know, like Robin is known as the sidekick. Like, I can't think of an example of that. So, to your point, I can't think of an example where that's the case.
Neither can I. Like, I can think of an example where an arch nemesis was a mentor. And you got Bruce and Raish at that point, or Ra's al, however you pronounce it. Is it Raish al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul? However it's pronounced.
I'm more of a Raz. I like Raz. Because I don't know exactly how it goes.
It depends on my day of the week, I suppose.
Yeah.
Today I'm going with Raish because that's just easier to say. But I feel like there was a point where he was a mentor. But then there also became a point where he became a nemesis. Like, I think it's easier to go from mentor to nemesis, but I don't think you can ever go from mentor to sidekick. You got a lot of actually.
What if the mentors? What if the mentor is like the same age? What if they're the same age and it's not like a father figure type mentorship?
Then you're looking more like the Titans. You're looking at more of those. You know, Dick was a mentor to Hank. He was a mentor to
all of them. At some point.
To all of them, but at the same part, like, they also helped him learn what he needed to know. You know, Donna Troy was legitimately one part mentor, one part teammate, one part sidekick. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go.
So I guess that's where it comes into play. If they are the same age, then that's where you get your different. You can be one of any of them.
Okay. All right. I think. Okay, the clarification I think definitely helps because that breaks it down a little bit more. Like, the same age is kind of, then it really gets to be a blurry line where you can kind of fit in the multiple categories a lot easier, I should say.
Right. I mean, like, using the Titans again, you look at, in particular, Dick Grayson and then Hawk and Dove. Like, he worked as both a mentor, a foil, at one point when he was sleeping with Dawn. You know what I mean? And a sidekick to them whenever he would have to go help them on their missions.
I ain't giving. He wasn't no sidekick to him.
That's just because you know how you feel about dick.
Oh, you taking the Oz jokes this week?
Go what up with Uncle Oz?
you filling it with the Oz jokes this week, huh?
Gotta have at least one of those, man. You know, I don't have any beer, so I poured myself a couple of glasses of a pina colada mix that I done came up with. So, you know, what else I'm gonna do on a Sunday afternoon?
True that. Well, obviously, Oz has something to do.
You know,
it's Mother's Day. Oz has a wife.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, before we get too deep into things, allow me to set the table. This is Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC. I am your host, Regular Scott. I am here filling in for my normal co-host, Ozzy Killmonger. We have Macho Man Vandal Savage from Unsupervised, the spinoff West Coast J. Welcome back.
Thank you, good sir. And another nod to Oz. What is happening, good people?
Yeah. Hey, you're doing a better job of Uncle Oz than Uncle Oz does. And you can find us on Twitter at Knee4Marvel vs. DC. That's the number 4. You can email us at Knee4Marvel vs. DC at GoDefyLife.com. You can also download our podcast at Defy Life Pods and anywhere else you get your podcast, Apple Pods, Spreaker, TuneIn, Radio Public, all that good stuff. West Coast, tell them where they can find you on Unsupervised.
Hey, on Unsupervised, the spinoff podcast, you can find us at all the places Scott just listed. On top of that, you can also email us at unsupervised@godefylife.com. We are looking forward to any kind of emails because we be talking about anything. And then you can also find us on social media. The only thing we've got going on is a Facebook page. So facebook.com/unsupervised, the spinoff podcast. Go ahead and like. There's a contest going on. People are giving away hotel rooms. It's an interesting place. Yeah,
I'm trying to win that joint, though.
Yeah, feel free. Good luck with that. I hope you do.
I hope I do, too. I'm I think my name should be in a separate hat or whatever you draw and just pull from that name, that hat.
Oh, so you get to go in the mentor category? Is that what you're trying to tell me? You don't get to be a regular sidekick like everybody else follow. All right, I got you.
Yeah, it's tough because I am just a regular guy. So yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, you caught me in a pickle there. Good point. Touche.
Yeah, fair enough.
So okay, let's address the elephant in the room. We're recording on Sunday, which is the day we release this show, and part of the reason that is because myself and Uncle Oz, we've been just a little busy this week, and we were going to record last night, and Oz said, no, let's do it tomorrow. You know, we were supposed to have a family Zoom conference and kind of just say Happy Mother's Day to everyone in the family. My grandmother, grandfather were going to be on. Oz's parents, that's who they are. And, you know, just everybody, the whole family. And we were on, he wasn't there, he no-showed, and I called him, I got no answer from him. Hadn't heard from him from this morning. And you know what? Speak of the devil. We have Uncle Oz calling me live here on the show. I'm going to put him on speaker. This should be interesting.
Please do.
Uncle Oz, what's going on?
What's happening, dude? It's totally my bad, man. I had to run errands for the bed's upside. I had to run errands for the lady.
Oh, well, I just want to let you know you are live on Take a Knee right now with West Coast filling in for you.
Awesome. That's perfect. Thank you, man. It's Mother's Day. I appreciate that.
That's how it works. What's going on?
Yeah. I just want you to know you have let everyone down. No one's surprised, though. So at least you have that going for you.
That's pretty respectful. I hope everybody has a good Mother's Day. Okay.
Yep. So are you going to be joining the call, or did you just call to call? Because we're in the middle of a show.
No, I can totally. I was calling you to see if you'd like to do the call right now. And yeah, I'd be more than happy to join the call, man. Appreciate that.
You said you are going to join the call?
Yeah, I'll be joining.
Okay, well, I'm not going to let you. See ya. That was Uncle Oz, everyone, live calling in. So he might be joining us here soon.
Just mean and mean-spirited. Why do you antagonize Oz so? You guys have the most Lex Luthor-Superman relationship I have ever seen. Like, why? Why the antagonizing? Is it just to see that look on his face? Like, what is the point?
I do have to admit, I do get a kick out of riling Oz up.
It seems to be an activity.
I will admit that. I do enjoy getting him riled up. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
So there you go. You never know what can happen. This is live, and I'm certainly not going to cut this. This is definitely staying in the show.
But as you should, in all honesty, for all the listeners out there, that just happened. So,
Yeah, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do?
Regular has gone full unsupervised with his techniques.
Hey, listen, we are definitely unsupervised right now. This is definitely unsupervised. Let's do a couple news tidbits, though, West Coast. Let's get your thoughts on a couple news tidbits. The Hawkeye series is rumored to have a lot going on in it, and I've kind of compiled a lot of the stuff that it says. You just kind of give me some of your thoughts on this. It's going to be talking about Kate Bishop and the mentorship from Hawkeye, which is something that we've all talked about with the Disney Plus series. Mockingbird is rumored to show up in this series as well and be a potential love interest for Hawkeye. So what does that mean? Because he's a married man. Trickshot, his brother, is rumored to show up in the series as well. And they will spend a full episode on his time as Ronin from after the Infinity War and after the Snap. So West Coast, what are your thoughts on all that? And does any of that excite you? Is any of that new news to new? What are your thoughts on the Hawkeye Disney Plus series?
Well, one of the rumors that I read, though, is that they were talking about Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop.
Yes, I saw that as well.
And I like it. I like Haley Steinfeld a lot.
You think she's a good actress?
I like her a lot. Like, unfortunately, I was a fan of the Pitch Perfect movies, so
Hey, look, I ain't mad. I really like the first one. I thought the first one was solid.
Yeah. Like, I was a fan of them, and so I like her a lot, and I think that she'd be good at it. Actually, I think that she's going to play she's the right, basically character type. After seeing Bumblebee, for example, I feel like she's the right character type to play a young Kate Bishop. That's going to be kind of cool. Ronin, I'm all in, because that's one of the greatest. He just got mad and went smooth the hell off, and that's the greatest. Mockingbird, while he's a married man, I guess I'd have to see how it plays itself out.
And these are rumors, so this might not be happening as well. So.
Right. On top of all of that, we do kind of live in a society that had Ashley Madison as a real thing, so we know that affairs happen.
That's true. That's very true.
Past that, I think I'm more excited about Ronin than everything else.
So one of the ideas I've been thinking about is I wonder if this is the Mockingbird and the because I could see Mockingbird definitely showing up. I think that fits very easily. The love interest part, I wonder if maybe Hawkeye's wife dies, and maybe something tragic happens to her, and that's why he gets closer to Mockingbird, if this rumor happens to be true.
So my question then becomes, how is this during the Snap? Because if they're gonna give us a Ronin, that's the best time to throw in a Mockingbird, because really the wife's not there.
I didn't even think about that idea, because I was thinking this was going to be set after Endgame, but that's an even better idea of kind of bringing Mockingbird in as that. And your whole family just got snapped away, so it would make sense, for you to kind of find comfort in her. And yeah, actually, that's a great idea, West Coast. I like that a lot. I think that would fit the Ronin concept very, because I thought that would be a flashback episode anyway.
Yeah, and if it is, then there's your Mockingbird.
No,
She's
that's
already
great.
there.
That's great.
Yeah, like it's mid-snap.
I think that's great. If you heard all that ruckus, that was Uncle Oz joining the call. Oz, no need to do your intro. West Coast already did it better than you, I should add. Did your whole spiel. Even did a Dick Grayson joke. Made a dick joke. So he's been filling in for you admirably.
Appreciate that, West Coast. Thank you very much. How are you two doing today? Happy Mother's Day to you both.
Nice. Happy Mother's Day to you.
What? You just told us Happy Mother's Day?
Yes. Do you both have mothers?
We do. I spoke with mine.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me reiterate that to you. Happy Mother's Day to you both. This is a good day. Now, I don't think you should have one day that you need to honor your mothers. That should be every day. But just for the occasion, for the situation, Happy Mother's Day, brother.
Yes, Uncle Oz has gone on record and said that Mother's Day is a Hallmark holiday. And so I'm very surprised that you are celebrating.
Oh, wait, hold on. Time out. You're going to, since this is recorded and this is out to all of our listeners, you're going to get me on the full statement. What Uncle Oz said was, again, you should honor your mother every day. You don't need a corporation or government or some outside entity telling you that here's the day to honor your mother when that should be every day. That's what I said. This is a very corporate, get some money out of this for Corporation Day too. But please get it straight.
Well, you did say Hallmark holiday. Those were your words.
It is a very much so to me. A Hallmark holiday is any corporate holiday.
That's all I said.
Yeah, but get it straight, dude. You gotta honor your mother every day, dude.
We do, but all I said was that I was surprised that you are on record celebrating a Hallmark holiday.
Did you missed you this morning?
We missed you on the family call.
That's okay. They knew what was up, man. I went to virtual church service.
Oh, okay.
Needed it this morning.
Oh, I was spending time with my 10-month-old son and my lovely wife for Mother's Day that we celebrate.
Good.
Okay, good. West Coast, welcome to our family conversation.
Right? I just feel like I'm just sort of sitting there eating chips. Like, what's going on?
West Coast. This is every single day, every day with this cat, dude.
Oh, we don't.
I don't doubt it.
So, while we're sticking with the Disney Plus, another TV show from Disney Plus is the Mandalorian Season 2 is rumored to have Boba Fett joining, which means that he survived Return of the Jedi and survived the pit. The most important question that comes out of this, and West Coast will start with you, is how did Boba Fett survive?
Man, bump that. How old is this motherfucker? Boba Fett has to be at least, at that point, about 412.
No.
West Coast. This dude is collecting 7 AARP checks.
Man, he's got to be, because if you think about it like this, right? So I actually spent all of yesterday watching the final season of Clone Wars.
What'd you think about it?
It filled in some gaps. It actually answered one major question, without even a spoiler alert. Like, it answers a question real simply and real quickly.
You want to ask what's the question?
Why did Anakin go to the dark side? It answers it real succinct, and it answers it almost in passing. Like, I love the way they did it.
Do you want to share?
Do I want to go full spoiler alert? Like, I don't. I mean, I guess it's been. Let me think.
Is it a spoiler alert, or is it like your or is it blatant, or is it a spoiler alert, or is it your conclusion?
It is my conclusion based on what happened based on something that was said to Ahsoka Tano in passing.
Man, I don't know if it's a spoiler. I want to hear it.
All right, well then let's go ahead and get the music. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
There is a point where Ahsoka, who is no longer a Jedi, gets sent on a mission, and she gets to take some of the clones that were in her regiment when she was a Padawan and the commander of the clone armies. And Anakin wants to go with her, but he can't. And it's because he was sent on a mission to, quote unquote, spy on Emperor Palpatine, who at the time was still Senator Palpatine. And it's just that quick, just like exactly how I just said it. That's how they say it. And then you just sort of keep going. And as you keep going, you see the rest of the dominoes fall.
In a Elseworld for Star Wars, Anakin went on that mission with Ahsoka.
Exactly. And in that Elseworld, it became a whole different, because Darth Maul was actually one of the realest characters. He became, by the end of the Clone Wars cartoon, basically, Darth Maul was talking real shit.
Well, I mean, getting chopped in half can, like, if what it feels like is just like, if you take from what Obi-Wan said to Darth Vader from the first Star Wars, like, if you cut me in half, blah, blah, blah. You know, anytime any Sith or Jedi gets cut in half by a lightsaber, they become something other, you know? It's weird.
Yeah, they get way more introspective, way deeper.
I guess that will do it to you. Getting chopped in half with a lightsaber will make you pretty introspective.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, there's only been one person to really be chopped in half.
There's been two. Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan was struck down completely. Like,
he was struck down, but basically chopped in half.
No. Darth Maul was chopped in, like, that's chopped in half. Where you see separation of limbs, that's chopped in half. Like, Obi-Wan said, if you strike me down, I will become more powerful. Like, that's a whole different thing to me than being chopped in half. I mean, I'm like, don't you think?
No, I can dig it. I feel like anytime here's more of a more like clear way. I guess I'm trying to say it. I guess anytime a lightsaber hits flesh, it can make you something other, either more introspective or something. Maybe that's the whole point of it.
No. Now that I'll give you, because now that's
maybe
happened to a lot of people.
Because people who lost hands, lost
I'll
limbs,
give you that.
You know?
I'll give you that.
So maybe there's something with the lightsaber that is like, you know, it being connected with the Force. It means you're actually touching the Force in some way. If you get struck down, like you said, which is true, he became astral projection. You know, so something always happens when you're struck with a lightsaber.
So, never looked at it like that, but that makes a bunch of sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like Vader, even Finn from the newer series had a new perspective on things after he had that lightsaber put right through his back.
Like literally everyone, dude. You know, it's really weird. I just literally thought about it when we were talking about it. It's not weird. It's like if everything is truly connected with the Force, whether good or bad or neutral, that's something to think about. You know.
They become a part of the Force.
Anytime you are touched with a lightsaber, whether it kills you or whatever, you're becoming part of that Force. Of not that, the Force. You know.
So to bring it back to where we started with Boba Fett, how do we explain him surviving the pit?
Dude, one thing the West Coast said, like, so. This dude is old, though.
But he wouldn't be that old, because it's set right after Return of the Jedi, before Force Awakens. That's when Mando's set, so he wouldn't be that old.
So this is before the Force Awakens.
This is before the Force Awakens.
But this is after Return of the Jedi, though.
After Return of the Jedi.
I can get it. He's not that old, but Man, yo, you're supposed to be digested into that thing for 100 years, right? Somehow he cut it short.
Now I will say this: if you want to kind of learn about to give a nice little plug here. If you really want to learn about the skills and the technology and kind of why Boba Fett was as feared as he was without actually doing anything memorable in the movies, definitely check out our friends at The Villain's Demand, where they do the crossover collisions, and check out one of their Boba Fett episodes. They do a real good job breaking down his abilities and his technology and stuff like that, and it really kind of will open your eyes as to why he was revered as he was, with actually not doing anything except standing around in the movies.
But he was the world, like he was like the galaxy, one of the galaxy's greatest bounty hunters, right?
Yeah, he was, and they'll go over all that. So check out the crossover collision, Villains Demand, JVD, Evan the Great. Check those guys out. They'll definitely stray you the right way when it comes to.
So can I bring a couple things up to both of you guys about Star Wars while we're on this kick real quick in Disney Plus?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what the Trek is going to bring up about Star Wars.
So a couple things. Two things. Number one is, do you think, and just answer these both separately too. Do you think, number one, do you think the Mandalorian is more of a badass than Boba Fett, or Boba Fett is feared by all the rest of them, including the Mandalorian? And number two, there's something about the sword that the bad guy dude had, that is supposed to eventually.
Is this a spoiler? Is this a spoiler? Do I need to play? Some
music? No. But you know the sword that he has. I guess there's supposed to be like a kind of saberous sword that the bad dude is supposed to have, that eventually we will see and hope to get to.
I think that's the black lightsaber. The black
lightsaber, yeah.
Yeah, the black saber. If you watched all of Clone Wars and actually Star Wars Rebels, Sabine ends up with it at one point.
Get him, West Coast, go.
So the black lightsaber was the Mandalorian, their answer to the Force wielders' lightsabers. Because the Mandos, the Mandalorians didn't necessarily fool with the people that wielded the Force.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the original ruler of Mandalore and Obi-Wan, when they were younger, kind of had a romance. And then Maul killed her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of why Obi-Wan and Darth Maul have a legitimate thing. Like, Obi don't mess with Darth Maul because he killed his love, for lack of a better way to put it. It's kind of like if somebody would have killed Padme for real, Anakin would have been immediately dark.
Yeah.
Like Obi still stayed with the Jedi mindset. But anyway, overall, the black lightsaber was something that the Mandalorians came up with to be able to combat Force-wielding lightsaber users.
Counter to it.
Right. And there's only one, and in general, the ruler has it. Although in Star Wars Rebels, that cartoon, Sabine had it for a while, and she ended up giving it back to the ruler of the Mandalorians.
So I just want to... You keep bringing up the Clone Wars and the Rebel Wars, the animated series that spin off of Star Wars and whatnot. Ahsoka will be... I think I'm saying that right. She will be in the Mandalorian season 2 as well.
Ahsoka Tano is coming in. She's my favorite.
Well, yeah. So they're bringing in Boba and Ahsoka, dude. So it's gonna be. They know they're smart about stuff.
No, then that makes sense, because Ahsoka would have been probably about 14 or 15 if Boba was about 10. Like, just plain years old.
And it might be Rosario Dawson playing her. I could be wrong about that part.
Rumor has it.
Yeah, I heard that rumor as well, and I'm actually kind of completely okay with that.
Well, I think Rosario Dawson I think she's proven herself to be able to handle any type of action type roles and be just fine.
Yeah. Well, more than anything, it's the look. Like, Ahsoka had really big, full lips and looked exotic.
Well, they did a little... Sorry.
No, I was going to say Rosario Dawson fits that profile immediately.
They did a little transpo of having Rosario with, like, the typical makeup and everything. She'll be awesome in it. She's tough. She looks good. I think she'll be a great fit. And then the rumor who's going to play Boba Fett, that's going to be awesome too. So
it's not really. So let's see here. Chloe Grace Moretz is being eyed for the John Wick spinoff Cinderella. What are your thoughts on that, West Coast?
Who's Chloe Grace Moretz?
Hit Girl.
Oh, yeah.
And what's Cinderella? Is that the Russian part of it?
I think so.
What it's a spinoff. Like, so it must have something to do with the ballerinas in the Russian Baba Gita or whatever.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a spinoff of John Wick. So I wonder if this is like an all-female version of it,
or training the assassins or something.
I think she'd be great because I think she was great as Hit Girl. So I'm excited about this if it's true.
Yeah, that would work. Like, Hit Girl was a gangster, so I mess with her.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Supergirl movie is rumored to be on hold, as they are.
Life is.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah, life's on hold, but just the plans as far as going forward, because I don't even think it was supposed to be in production until like 2021 anyway. But rumors that it's they're thinking about switching back to doing Superman 2 or Man of Steel 2 instead, and follow up with that story instead of doing a Supergirl movie. So what do y'all think it would be better to go in the Supergirl direction, or would you be more on board with a Man of Steel 2?
What would Man of Steel 2 be, first of all?
It would be a follow-up to Man of Steel. Oh, actually, it'd be a follow-up to Justice League.
Okay, that's what I was like. That's what I said. So what would it be? So
I mean, it'd be a sequel to Man of Steel following the events of Justice League.
Okay.
Okay.
So he would be resurrected in my opinion, a fantastic. Henry Cavill in the last 15 minutes or whenever after he comes back to life and he joins the fight, he is fantastic as Superman.
Yeah,
even more so than he normally was. But that's the smiling, happy Boy Scout Superman that everybody wanted. And I thought he was great.
No, that's great. West Coast, I'd love to get your opinion on this. Do you think the Witcher folks would let him be Superman again?
They'd have to. Like, he was
right?
Superman first.
Right?
Yeah, I know. But I feel like he's got. It's a testament to who he is.
Why can't he do both?
No,
right.
he can. But once as I like to be the finish, it's a testament to who he is as an actor and how much he gives to developing his characters and stuff. He can do both, but man, I would love to see what the storyline is going to be with that, because it feels like there's all these weird puzzles. Like, they threw in Deathstroke, they threw in the Legion of Doom, they threw in Luthor, and then so what is 2 going to be, man? It boggles my brain for a little bit. So,
I mean, I agree with that. They put in a bunch of Easter eggs, bunch of them, especially at the end.
God, for no reason. It was just too much.
Like, where everybody came walking up together on the Luthor yacht. It's like, so who do we actually get? Are we going to get all of them as a villain? If so, isn't that a little bit... Are you guys blowing your wad a little early?
Yeah. And the biggest question for me is just like the interaction between Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, because Clark's going to be like, okay, dude, so you bought my mom's house. Are we good, or do I owe you money, or what's going on with this?
Right. Like, what is this? Like,
because you're not going to pimp my mama on Mama's Day, dude. So I'm just saying, we got to clear this up right now.
Right. Am I in debt to you? How does this work?
Yeah. You know she ain't got no job, dude. That's my mom you're talking about, dude. She got a farm, man. That's what are your intentions, sir?
So, you bring up the ending of Justice League and them kind of forming, with Luthor and Deathstroke kind of walking up, and you get that big reveal. and to be honest with you, with the way the last few movies have released and, you know, the order of the movies they have coming out, they could very well still very easily do that. I mean, I think it's a very easy story to have Luther show up at Black Manta and be like, I have a proposition for you. And then after Wonder Woman, I think it's very easy for Luther to go find Cheetah and be like, I have a proposition for you. And not to mention Suicide Squad, all the villains that, you know, were talked about and teased in Birds of Prey. Like, I think they're in a great position to be able to go in a lot of different directions. And if they do want to do like an Injustice League or a Legion of Doom type thing, like, I think they're in a great spot to do it. I don't think they should, but if they wanted to, I think they're in a good spot to do it down the road and still build to it. I think it's a very easy story and thread to lay.
So my question is, why don't you think they should?
I don't think they'll get it right.
That's a way better answer than I was expecting.
I mean, honestly, I don't think they'll get it right. I think there's a great story that could be told, but I don't think I don't have a lot of faith in it.
So the biggest issue I have with DC movie makers, just the film, the actual actors in film, not the animated, because the animated is what it is. We've all established that. You guys have established that repeatedly on this show, that their animated is second to none. But Marvel gave them a blueprint, and I think that DC is thinking so hard trying to not be Marvel that they won't just follow it.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Yeah, you could be on to something, and even if they like, I just feel like instead of worrying about copying them, they should just be worrying about putting out good movies, and you can still do all, like, the thing about Marvel was they were doing movies first, and it kind of felt like these scenes were just put, you know, like the first Nick Fury scene, that felt like it was there, like, let's put this at the end and see what happens. See what type of reaction we get. You know, it was after the movie was made, after the story was built. You know what I mean?
So true.
And I think that's a very easy thing and that's an easy thread that you can lay after the credits. People will stay after the movie to see after credits from now on.
Everybody's trained to stay after the credits. I think you're so right, regular Scott. Like with that, I think they threw in the Nick Fury thing to be like, put it in. People know Samuel Jackson. The nerds know Nick Fury. Let's give them something and see if they bite. And everybody bit. Now, I have something for you both. So, a couple questions for you guys. Everybody knows who Wonder Woman is, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Everybody knows Superman, right?
Also, yep.
Everybody knows Batman. Like, everybody literally knows those three, right? Why not flip the script on Marvel and be like, yo, you know what? We saw what you did. Awesome. And turn Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, and start doing Elseworld stuff with them. Like, do Injustice. Like, do these guys being bad. And throw that out there and let's see, and let people grab onto that, because they'll never ever, it'll blow people's minds, man.
It would. It certainly would.
And it would be so anti-Marvel, you know, that people would be like, "What is going on?" It would be a good way for them to recapture people's imagination, and they could go, "Well, here's some other Elseworld stuff, or here's some other real stuff." It would just be an easy moneymaker for those guys. They'll never do it, but you know.
Well, I do think they are kind of leaning into it, because the rumors that we've kind of heard is and seen on the internet and whatnot from different websites reporting it, is that this Batman is kind of set in its own world. You know, so it's almost like it is kind of its own Elseworld
open
thing.
Up other worlds.
Yeah, where they can do whatever they want. And
I love it.
So I think this might be kind of the test barometer. And I think if this works, you might see like more, you know, some of like the Earth 2 stories from the comics, like a Superman Earth 2 or a Wonder Woman Earth 2 or something like, or is it Earth 1 or Earth 2, the different one that's it's completely separate continuity and whatnot. But
right,
you could very easily do that if this works out like that. I think because that's where I think they're kind of planning too, is to go with the Elseworld stories.
Well, I can tell you, people have been so hungry for they're like that whole freedom fighters kind of, it's a perfect environment for it right now too. Do a whole what if the Nazis won and they had Superman and all the guys, it's a good environment for it, and just to see what happened with that.
It's funny you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling Scott when he shot me a text earlier, like, hey, I don't know where Oz is. Do you want to hop on? I'm like, all right. And when he shot me that text, I was literally on DC Universe reading Red Sun.
That is awesome. See,
like that's actually what, like, it's still just on this page in the background. So like that's what I was doing. So I completely hear you.
Yeah.
Like the Elseworlds, if they take the new Batman, this patented Batman,
mm-hmm.
and create it on Earth whatever number, then they can use all of the Elseworld stories at any given point.
And it's literally a wealth of information. They could do that for like at least a decade, and that's the way you beat Marvel at their own weird little game, because by the way, Marvel still is due with Disney Plus their own version of What If.
That's
the
true
animated,
too.
So it's like okay, cool, get and like really beat them at their game,
Yeah, no, I definitely hear that. And so, question for both of you, and then we'll then we're going to take a break. I got one more news thing. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, so I'll go over it after the break. But I do want to ask one question before we go to break. For both of you, which Elseworld story would be the first you would adapt live action?
This is before the break?
Yeah, it'd be before the break.
Okay.
No commercial for you guys to think. No, we're not doing that here. Putting you on the spot. You don't get time on the spot.
We'll let our guests go, or what you got? Because I'm a pretty weird Elseworld dude. I love them.
Well, I mean, if we're stuck with me, I am a huge fan of Injustice.
Okay,
huge fan of Injustice. I love that storyline from the moment it started. I've loved the games, the books, I've loved it from the beginning.
I'm going to put West Coast on the spot. I'm going to test your love. Did you read the Injustice and Masters of the Universe?
No, I did not.
I will encourage you to read the Injustice and Masters of the Universe, because the Injustice thing is really it's cool, and it's listen, whenever West Coast is on here, like he'll literally say some stuff and I'll like ponder on it for like a week or two. Yeah, man, it's that Injustice stuff is so good, because even the freaky one where they did one where Batman was like, screw this, I'm gonna kill him before spoiler alert, before Superman goes down that dark road. It's good. It's good. West Coast, you're a wise man.
Nice.
Oz?
Thanks.
What you got?
You are a wise man. So there's a couple Elseworlds that are really cool. A really weird one was that, I don't know how you translate it to live action. Maybe you could. The Flash, Vandal Savage uses a supersonic bullet or something like that and shoots Barry Allen and actually paralyzes him. And because Barry Allen was trying to, it was elsewhere where he attempted to not get JFK assassinated. And so instead he took the bullet for him. He's paralyzed. So he can't move his body, but his mind still works at supersonic, super lightning speed. So his mind he's pumping out all this stuff. He's really invented the whole world. Because he's also a scientist too. And it touches about depression and relationships with your wife and stuff like that. So that's a really cool, easy, kind of feel good story for everybody. You could do in a Twilight Zone kind of real world. And another easy one, there's the Elseworld that's called the Secret Society. It's like a 3-issue one, and it's basically kind of like film noir, where it's set in the 20s, and it's these superheroes, but you don't know they're superheroes. They just kind of really are masked people that do good underground. So, Nerdfest is over.
Well, I just finished washing clothes.
Was that a rant?
No, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad,
right?
Yeah, no, that was good. That was pretty good.
West Coast, man, I love the Injustice stuff too, dude. It's really good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's such a cool. Again, I'm stuck in the video game, so like it's all over the place. I love it.
Yeah. And so one more thing too. I love when Supergirl is like crying to Superman, going, "Why did you do that to Batman?"
Right.
And Superman's just like, "Look, dude. Basically, you're Kryptonian. You need to stop that shit." It's good. It was good.
I stopped rocking with the Injustice comic after they did my boy Dick dirty.
Reg, I knew you were gonna say that. Hey, yo,
man,
they did him the worst.
Come on, man! Like y'all couldn't even let this man die a noble death. Y'all had him killed by accident.
Yeah.
No. His noble death was like his arch enemy was a rock, dude. That's terrible.
And then the worst part is
said his arch enemy was a rock.
The worst part is Robin had the nerve to take up the Nightwing mantle.
Oh, yo, they showed him no respect. The only respect that cat got was when he became back as a ghost, and then like Batman was like,
Spoiler
"You're not my son."
Dude, spoiler alert, dude. God dang! You can't just tell the whole comic. God.
I know, dude, but you just told your boy Dick got dirty, dude. So
I didn't say what happened.
He did.
I did not say what happened.
So in other news, while you guys were laughing at Dick Grayson getting murked by Rock,
spoiler alert again, West Coast. Spoiler alert, man.
Hey, yo, since we did it, hey, West Coast, by the way, it wasn't him getting murked by the Rock. It's just him getting murked by a Rock.
Rock, singular Rock.
Nah, y'all. Hey, look. Y'all gonna stop doing my boy dirty like that, right? So look.
All right, so we're gonna hold on before we go to break. Hold on. There's a Batman. There's a Batman Elseworld that it's all the way crazy. I haven't even read it yet, but I'm just looking at the comic cover. It says Batman in Darkest Night, where somehow the Green Lantern gets killed and Batman ends up with a lantern.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
that looks like that would be fun as well.
There's a wealth of stuff, dude, out there. You know. Yo, right. This dude got assassinated by a.
All right, we're going to the break. We'll be right back. Oz, you should have stayed off the call.
I should outside.
Yeah, go sit outside in the corner or something. We'll be right back.
This is Defy Life.
Welcome to the Defy Life podcast. Join JR, Thomas, and Al as they take on topics in sports, politics, current events, family, and more. Insightful, hilarious, always unique. New episode every Wednesday. Powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. Listen at DefyLifePods.com and everywhere else your favorite podcasts are available. If you're not rocking with Defy Life, what's your life about?
Yeah, if I had to make a new joke too.
And we are back. And definitely make sure you are checking out the Defy Life podcast, the flagship of the network. Yeah, they got another new commercial. They always get all the new stuff, all the fancy stuff, all the fly sounds, fresh beats. You know, Kingpin spitting on tracks and stuff. You know, they get all the love on the flagship, man. But no, definitely check those guys out. Him, Al, Thomas Stevens. They do a great job over there. West Coast, you've been a part of it. Me. Talk to them. Yeah, right. West Coast, you were there last week.
I was there last week. Sitting there laughing at Pooh.
So,
Pooh was talking crazy to me and Money. Talking about he couldn't win in trivia, so he needed me and Money back.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I do remember him saying all that. talking
So
smack.
Yo, man, this trivia thing is deep, dude. It's very like I got PTSD from that stuff, man.
Oh yeah, it's real. It's real. The trivia gets real. So I had to go on the show last week and make Pooh stop talking about us.
Oz got taken knee looking like the Charlotte Hornets out here.
Okay. Next one up, dude. You go ahead.
Nah, I listen. I'm very comfortable where I'm at. I'm good. Not trying to trade spots.
Right. Yeah. It's way more fun when you get to take shots from.
Dude, this dude is like the Baron.
Hey,
straight up like.
When West Coast was champion, he was on the other side for a while. He saw what it was like.
No. But you and Jay always have this Kingpin. Look, I feel like you guys are like the sheriff of Nottingham. But that's cool.
Hilarious.
That's cool, dude. Because there's a Robin Hood coming straight up next time, son. Mad game coming, son. Oh God, I gotta stop drinking. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, we'll see about that. We might do some training grounds soon before your next battleground.
Can you give me Batwing's first love when he was in college, second semester?
Oh, that's Jennifer Green.
Wow.
Hey, yo, West Coast. That was a 2-point question too.
That was a 3. It was a 3.
So before we went to the break, I asked the gentlemen to give me their Elseworld stories, and they West Coast brought up Injustice, and Uncle Oz mentioned 2 as well. I kind of went in a different direction. Instead of going with the classic Elseworlds, because I was thinking Kingdom Come, because I just finished rereading that from last week. I talked about rereading that. So
that's an Elseworld too.
No, it is, but it was fresh in my mind. But I was thinking about going in a different direction. I was thinking about maybe something. If you're gonna do Elseworld, let's just do it. Let's go all in and let's go crazy. I'm thinking let's do a Justice League Power Rangers crossover. Let's just go crazy.
That is crazy.
That is absolutely nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Let's do it. You could spin off 2 series from that movie. Or you put it on Netflix, and then you ain't even got to worry about recouping that back.
DC wouldn't put anything on Netflix at this point.
You're
they
right.
do have their own universe.
HBO Max. Because I feel like DC Universe is about to be obsolete.
About that. I feel like if you did that, I don't have a problem with that, but I feel like if you did that, you're putting Justice League in a weird category. That's this bracket that's I know they both entertain kids, but it's a weird bracket,
Have you read the comic?
No, I truthfully I have not, but just a pairing of those 2 is sort of like, maybe it's awesome because people are always just like, dude, you can actually have beer and steak. I'm like, oh, awesome, cool. That's a great pairing, but it's weird, but I don't know.
It's a good read. You should check it out.
Maybe chocolate and fish might be delicious. Who knows?
Listen, I think you need to go crazy. If you're not going to do that, then give me Batman and Ninja Turtles.
See, you got Batman and Ninja Turtles animated though.
But we're talking. We've got I'm totally talking live action though. Because let's face it, the Injustice video game is pretty much a cartoon, is an animated movie.
Pretty close.
You know what I mean? Like it's pretty much an animated movie.
With the cutscenes and everything, yeah, totally, it totally is. But like, if you want to go, man, I'm trying to think of something that like is super provocative. Because like, oh, by the way, West Coast, if you did or did not know, Red Sun is also a motion comic too.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so when you have satisfied your palate with the West Coast with the Red Sun comic, try that motion comic, and they tried to do a brief kind of like motion picture with it too. It's good, dude. That's smart. Now, if you want to, so here's my thing.
Oh, that wasn't your thing?
No.
Oh,
no, I don't have to. If you want to go nuts, make that into live action.
I don't know that it would fit the times.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't think that's a good time to put that out.
Yeah, I don't think right now is the right time for that.
What?
Well,
you trying to start a riot?
Right.
What?
I feel like Watchmen gave it a fair shot with their series.
So, hey, by the way, speaking of which, did you know that because of the Watchmen HBO show, Oklahoma has started putting that back into their curriculum, and back in there's actually like a lot of stuff legislation wide that's been going on just to uncover a lot of like the history of the massacre and stuff.
Oh, wow.
That is fiction imitating. That is fiction dictating life, dude. It's crazy.
No, it's a good thing to at least know the history.
I just want to say, dude, I don't want to exaggerate and say I've had so many, but I've had people really come up to me and go, "Man, that's so crazy about Oklahoma." I was like, that's real, right? They're like, "What?"
Yep. It happened in North Carolina and Wilmington as well. It happened all over the place.
And it is a reason why we have Rosewood. And where Trayvon Martin was shot, that used to be an all-black township until it was absorbed into the white, into like the whole white neighborhood. A little background story about that is the black mayor of that black township, when it got absorbed into the white inclusive neighborhood, his new job was a postal delivery person. So,
wow,
yeah. So there's a lot of hidden history, dude. Like Fairbanks, Alaska had a black mayor.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's move on from that. Yeah, I got to stop you before you keep going. You had another 30 minutes in you. I got to cut you off.
And I got 4 more drinks left.
Yeah. So because you were about to keep going. So the next bit of news is going to be kind of a lot, and I kind of really want to dive into it because I think it's a great concept. Shang-Chi is a movie I'm very excited about. And one of the elements of the story that I've read online from a few different places is saying that one of the main story arcs is going to be a Mortal Kombat-esque style tournament. That Shang-Chi will be a part of, and that there will be other famous fighters and wizards, including, let's see here, who is it? Baron Mordo is also one of the rumored wizards to appear in Shang-Chi.
Wait, our boy Chewie?
Yes, Chewie. Also rumored to be in this tournament is, and I'll read the list here. Spiral, T-Ray, who is a zombie with voodoo knowledge and the arch nemesis of Deadpool. Omega Red, a Russian mutant with healing abilities.
Oh, yeah, the tentacles, brother.
Yep, and Omega Red is also rumored to appear in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, so there's that connection. It says there will be other mutants and aliens also fighting. Let's see. There's also the rumor that Black Tarantula and White Tiger will take part in this tournament.
That's what you got to have it, dude. You got to have it like that.
And it is said that the winner of the tournament will receive the 10 rings. So that is going to be what they're fighting for. Now, apparently this story is going to revolve around the Mandarin being a father figure for Shang-Chi and kind of using him to win the tournament, to get the 10 rings.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to kind of unravel. There are a lot of characters. So let me start with this, and I'll start with you, West Coast. Baron Mordo, we saw him in Doctor Strange. Does that mean that Shang-Chi is going to be a modern take on this, or were you expecting that, or were you kind of expecting Shang-Chi to be set a little bit more in the past?
I was fully expecting them to bring it modern. With regard to Shang-Chi, what was he in? He was come up with in 73 or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like to drop him as the newest movie basically what it's going to do, Marvel is now just running on their name.
Yeah.
So if you think about how when the Guardians of the Galaxy came out, people were like, the hell is a Guardian of the Galaxy? What are you talking? And then we watched the movie, was just like, oh, these dudes are awesome. Like, I feel like that's what's going to end up happening with Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just going to put him, but they're going to have to modernize him. Because in reality, if you got a Mortal Kombat style tournament, there's no reason why the Immortal Iron Fist shouldn't even be involved. Like, they should bring them all in.
Slow clap. You bring all the fighters in.
Why not?
And everybody's all like, man, so what do? How do you introduce these characters? You bring them all in this movie.
Yep. You have them walk by. You know, the Black Widow could be involved for no apparent reason. She's still a fighter.
Dude, yeah, oh man, it's West Coast. I'm not crying. You're crying. So yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, you bring all these guys in.
That way you get everybody involved, and you give the current generation of people who would have no idea who Shang-Chi is. Like the Shang-Chi, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, like all of those people that came out on the Netflix shows, the current generation of people who are reading comics, the current generation would not have known them. Like, I can tell you honestly, had I not had my dad be a comic book collector where I discovered comics from the 70s, there'd be no reason why. When I saw Luke Cage's name, I was like, they got a Power Man show? Somebody was like, what is Power Man? I was like, that's Luke Cage. Oh, that's right. You don't know that.
There's no frame of reference for him, man. Like, unless you like are old or grew up in it. And you know what? And by the way, what you said, West Coast, like if you introduce all these guys in that kind of tournament style, again, so everybody's like, oh, DC needs to figure out how to do the Marvel. Marvel is giving a big FU to Mortal Kombat and saying, let me show you how to really run a Mortal Kombat gambit.
They could.
And you said it. Throwing Iron Fist, not Jerry Curl Iron Fist, but throwing a different Iron Fist.
Right.
And throwing Luke Cage.
Why not? Well, Power Man might be too much.
Yeah,
might be too much.
But see, when you were talking though, I was thinking, throw him in, let him win like 2 bouts, then get him out. You know.
Okay, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but what I'm thinking of, like, I'm with anybody that's a fighter in the Marvel universe. You could just slide them in, even if it's for a moment or two, even if we only discuss their match in passing, but we see them in like the break room, for lack of a better way to put it.
And can I also bring up the name that should not be mentioned, dude, in the shadow or somewhere. Throw in your new Wolverine too.
Why not? Like, if you're gonna have Omega Red, why not have Wolverine?
Maybe he doesn't fight. Maybe he's like in the shadow somewhere. Maybe he's not Hugh Jackman. He's a different cat, but you get a little taste. So you're getting a taste of all these people, and the way it should work is like, and even an advertisement, throw it all out there to the people. The people will decide who they like, and then you're like, oh, they like this cat. Give them more play. This cat didn't do so well. Good. There's a wealth of stuff in that. So, yeah, like White Tiger, all these cats, man, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it would be amazing to see, because you can throw in literally any of the fighters and anybody that you thought about. I wonder if this will fly. Let's see if this flies. We'll put them in for a couple of minutes and see how they track. See if people deal with it.
See if people love them or not, and get at it. Because, like I'm telling you, man, Iron Fist meant nothing to me until I started reading that Iron Fist when he was in the tournament. You know, and I was like, oh, this is crazy, dude. You know,
that makes sense.
Yeah, man, I think that's an easy fix. Put him in a whole tournament kind of Mortal Kombat stylish, man. I think that's begging and doing well. And regular, you said, modernize the cat, dude, and you got some money there, right there.
Daredevil,
I can't take that. West Coast said that.
Yeah, you definitely need him in. Like, but I mean, dude, if you look at it again, and I'm basing this solely on the way that the Netflix series has brought all of the current generation of people who don't necessarily read old comics. they brought those people together with a modernized Daredevil to start, with a modernized even Elektra, who could probably be in the tournament, with a modernized, you know what I mean? Like all of these people were in today, even a modernized Kingpin. Like Wilson Fisk was sick. Like all of that was only we were brought back to comic lore. Like comic purists were happy because of the way that they were, except for Danny Rand, with the way that they were portrayed. But new people were also brought in because they're like, dude, who are these dudes and how long have they been? And then they start going back and looking,
digging in the crates for it, man.
Right. They start going back and look. They start showing up at comic book stores asking ridiculous questions where, you know, you get to see the look on the face. One of my favorite things in the world is walking into a comic book store and asking them something obscure and having the one that knows about it be super excited to tell you about it.
Yeah, well, dude, West Coast, like they've been waiting all their life.
Right, like I've been waiting my whole life for somebody to ask me about the 10 Rings tournament. Come here.
Literally, it's like their Trinity, and they're like it's that moment when Morpheus like, was it? She said that I would find the one. You know, I was like, yeah, okay, got you, dude. They love it, dude. You know, that's the joy of the nerdism, man. People are just waiting to like be like, I need someone to know what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah, man. That's a nerd overall, though. That's a nerd characteristic.
It totally is.
It's like there's certain groups when you meet another one, you guys are immediately in your own world together. It's like a little bubble forms around you, and that's what you two are doing.
Yeah.
Like there's nerds, real comedians, real comics. When they see each other in public, like the rest of the world disappears to them.
There's Chris. Was it Jerry Seinfeld has writing comedians writing
comedians in cars getting coffee.
And so Chris Rock has one where he said, literally, he goes, I remember when I saw you, and I was like, I was invited to this event, and I saw you, and I ran over to you, and I went, comedian.
Right,
you
comedian.
Dude. Yeah. There's a universal thing. It's like the Highlander when Sean Connery says to Chris Lambert, he goes, McLeod, we are brothers.
Right, super juiced. Like but the nerd culture's like that as well, though.
Yeah,
like if you play Dungeons and Dragons and you're in a room where nobody in the room looks like they play Dungeons and Dragons, somebody brings up a 20-sided die, immediately you two are friends now.
Yeah.
You know, if you bring up magic cards in conversation and somebody makes a reference to, you know, a planeswalker in the background, immediately you two are friends now.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. Like, nerd culture does that better than most.
Yeah, and you know, and I think that speaks. I know we're getting off subject, but that speaks to the essence of what it is to be a human being too. You want that connection,
right?
Everybody, you say I'm a loner, bro. I got a leather jacket. I'm the Fonz, whatever. But you know, man, you want that connection with another person. That's all you crave, you know.
But to bring it back full circle, Shang-Chi has connections to so many characters.
Do 7 degrees with that dude. You can.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
So many characters that you can, especially with a tournament setting, Marvel could literally introduce people just to see if people pay attention. Let's see if that I'm thinking about like when the Wolverine movie where we had that Ryan Reynolds sighting with his mouth sewn shut and everybody was like, dude, was that Deadpool? Is that really Deadpool? Is that what they did to Deadpool? Like, do you remember how much chatter there was about that? Yeah. Until like Deadpool 2 where he killed him.
Right, I know. See?
That was the best, by the way. When he went back and killed all of his old previous iterations, that was the funniest shit in the world to me.
And Green Lantern too.
Right, killed Green Lantern as well. He had to go as well. But I'm saying, like, Shang-Chi could connect everybody, and again, if they modernize him and modernize the tournament, like make it somewhat believable in the sense that it's something that we could see happening in a seedy underbelly, in a Chinatown, in a major city somewhere.
Or if you want to, you can even take it off world if you want to, since it's all 10 of the rings, you know.
That's also true.
you could really, if you want to make it modern, be like, okay, here it is. This is like, oh, you could even make it like the contest of champions for the Street Fighters.
Right. That's where I was thinking.
Yeah.
Is that they discovering their invitations like golden tickets somehow.
Yeah, Willy Wonka.
Right. And then they end up as soon as they take it, they transport it, and it becomes this interesting game of death.
Dude, so how, man, I would probably watch that movie 3 times if they did that. With some great fight scenes too. You get Baron Mordo, like he's like, oh, I can fight a little bit, but I also have my magic. He might win a couple, but then you get down and you see you got Marvel, you got Mortal Kombat, you got the Karate Kid. You have every element in that thing.
Every Bruce Lee movie ever.
Everything. Hey, I don't care. Put Shang-Chi in a yellow jumpsuit. Do it.
I mean, look, I'm looking at an image of Shang-Chi in 2018, and he really does kind of look like Bruce Lee, except he's in a red outfit.
Listen, man, West Coast, did you ever read the Secret Avengers style, where he literally is, they said, we don't care, dude. Everybody will get it. He's in a one-piece jumpsuit, and he is straight up Bruce Lee slaughtering people.
Hilarious. Nope, I never did, but that's funny as hell.
All right. Hey, Bradley Scott's going to kill me for this, and this is my last rant about that. So you should read the Secret Avengers, because those earlier ones, they had one, spoiler alert, they went and they had to go to this outer space, like they went to outer space, this space station. They couldn't use any weapons. It's Captain America, I think Sharon Carter, and Shang-Chi. And Shang-Chi's like, Captain, did you choose me because I'm your lapdog? And Captain America didn't say anything. And Shang-Chi is just taking people out because they can't use weapons. Like literally, like he'll hit someone and you'll see like their whole body explode. People forget like he knows every martial arts. And then he says, oh, I think we should go this way. And Captain America's like, that's why you're here. You're an Avenger. Don't ever forget that. It's awesome, dude. It's great. It's good stuff.
It would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything you guys just said.
Regular just let us both rant for a second.
Wait, hold on. Hey, West Coast. This is a rare occasion because, like, this ain't wrestling or sports. So I'm
he just legit let us nerd out for a second.
Hey, look. I don't mind taking a step back when I'm out of my element.
Yo, I'm just saying, when you get the Mighty J on here, dude.
You don't even know his name. You don't even know his name.
I just said I called him the Mighty J. West Coast. Is that okay?
That's not his name. What's his name on the show? What's his name on the show, Oz?
West Coast is not right.
No, it's not. That is not. And you should know better.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you should know better.
You should know better.
That when I show up here, I am the Macho Man Vandal Savage.
Come on, Oz.
Dude, come on, man. I do. Oh, that's terrible.
On your part. On you.
These are pot shots. He's throwing rocks.
The same rock you hit Dick Grayson with is the one I'm throwing at you.
Oh, sorry. So I won't say West Coast. I'll say Macho Man Vandal. So Vandal, he's not throwing rocks. He's throwing pebbles. He's throwing pebbles. He's trying to assassinate me with pebbles once again, sir. Okay. Man. So well, I'm sorry, sir. If you want to try and assassinate me, you can't take me down like that, son.
So we got a One's Gotta Go. We're gonna do Mother's Day edition, and then we're probably gonna wrap.
Got to go.
Well, we don't have to go, but we'll probably go wrap up after that.
Regular Scott's got to go, son.
We got a One's Gotta Go Mother's Day edition. So I have 4 mothers, and one of these moms has to go. Martha Kent.
I just want to say one thing, though. Man, Mighty J is kind of nice, though, isn't it?
It wasn't bad. I wasn't bad.
Come on, dude. Okay. All right. Back to reality. Thank you. Go ahead, Reg.
Martha Kent, Aunt May, Sue Richards, Lois Lane.
Lois Lane can go.
Bye. See ya.
Okay. Martha
She's
Kent.
Not a mom, dude. She's not a mom.
They have kids.
She's new. No. She's new to the game of the mother thing, dude.
She has kids. Martha Kent,
but-
Aunt May, Sue Richards.
Martha Kent, Aunt May, Sue. You know what? I'm gonna tell you like this. Bye, Sue.
That's where I'm leaning.
I know. I'm sticking with the heritage, dude. Aunt May took on the mantle, and poor Peter was like, "I can't hurt her." And Aunt May's like, "I know who you are, dude. I've always known." You know, yeah. Sue is more of a super heroine. You know, I think the mom game comes last to her. You know.
Yeah, I feel like she's scientist, hero, heroine, however you want to phrase it, and mom.
Submariners, like obsession. You know, I feel like for her, I'm not trying to be a jerk about this, but I feel like for her, the mom comes in when she like wants to kick somebody's butt and says like, "I'm a mom," you know. But other than that, she's like, "Hey, I'm Sue. I'm a superhero."
Right. I'm the invisible woman. Check it out.
Don't call me the invisible girl. I'm the invisible woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Martha Kent
me too.
Martha Kent and Aunt May.
I know where I'm going with this one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still gonna go. Martha Kent can probably go here.
Wow, that's interesting.
I
see here. I was gonna say Aunt May only because Martha has put up with some craziness, dude. Like when Jonathan was like dead for a while, he wasn't dead, but then he was dead again. My heart goes out to her. Maybe I'm just being too sentimental because I'm being really silly when two people are fighting. One is a alien who can kill you by breathing on you. One is just a crazy billionaire, and they're like, "Wait, your mom's name is Martha?" So I just kind of hate that, but that's just me.
That's fair. All right, I feel like Martha can go. Honestly, Martha Kent and Aunt May kind of have similar stories.
They do.
So in reality, this is a coin flip, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other situation.
Now, are you doing that because you like some Spider-Man more than Superman?
I do. I like Spider-Man more than Superman. That's really what it boils down to. Like I do. I personally like Spider-Man more than I like Superman. I feel like Spider-Man is much more relatable because Superman is the impenetrable Man of Steel.
Absolutely. Spider-Man through any generation has always been like the dude. He's us, you know.
Yeah,
like,
he's relatable.
You messed up, and you like, oh, I shouldn't mess up again.
Yeah,
you know?
Like he made that one mistake, and it got his uncle killed.
And he said, "I'm never going to do it again." And he
never made that mistake again.
Superman's just like, "Yo, Lois, give me that coal over there. Watch this. That's for you, girl." I'm like, what? Wait, what? You
know, like we got to watch Peter Parker not be able to get girls.
dude, like the hottest chick. This dude was sweating over. He's like, "Yo, you're my next door neighbor. You know, I seen you do drugs. I seen you do everything. Don't you know I'm a superhero?" But he still kept it cool, man. You know?
Like, it's just, I also feel like, and again, a lot of this is based on the fact that I was literally reading Red Sun a couple hours ago. If the panel that got me most in that book was if that spaceship would have arrived 12 hours earlier or 12 hours later, he'd be a completely different person.
Oh, dude. And so they had a whole bunch of scenarios that I nerd out on Superman sometimes. So here's some scenarios. What if it landed underwater? What if it landed in Africa, like Ghana? Who cares, you know?
Right, just in Africa.
What if it landed in the bottom of the Grand Canyon? You know, it's just there's just so many crazy. There's a whole lot of weird scenarios. You know,
that would have been interesting. Like, who would he have tripped over? The Comanche?
Yeah, or does he turn into freaking like a pack of wolves and he's like, you know, the Jungle Book?
Does he where does he have to land to become Brightburn?
Right, dude. Yeah, like, oh my God. So wait, and I'm not even trying to like go there, but maybe he like maybe he lands in Texas and like the Branch Davidians, you know. So David Koresh like raises this kid.
Right. He lands in Utah.
My God, dude, he turns into a Mormon.
I mean, like, what do we do? Like that's kind of what always has got me about Superman, is that Superman is legitimately, everything's always sort of fallen into place the right way for him. Whereas I always felt like that Spider-Man, not only did things not fall into place, but everything, like, stuff was constantly messing up. And the one constant he had was he just wouldn't let anything happen to Aunt May.
Yeah, he always wanted to protect her. I mean, and that's us too. Like, you got them powers. Yes, I would be like, oh, I can get some money by faking some wrestling. Mm-hmm. Watch this. Yeah, come on, dude. Because you're not. Your mind is not going to go, I'm going to be a superhero.
Nah,
you know,
not at 15, 16 years old. No,
your mind is going to go,
I got to get some money so I can get that girl.
I can get some money. Because look, I can get some money for the house and get some money for that girl. Because that's what your brain is saying, dude.
Right up.
Oh, come on, man.
No doubt. Okay, so it looks like they're in agreement.
Wait, hold on, regular Scott. So what's your take on all this from top to bottom?
Aunt May can go. Peter Parker was a good kid before. I mean, he was a good kid anyway. He still would have had Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben still would have gave him the great parenting that Aunt May gave. So if Aunt May's not there, I don't think he loses anything. And I think without Martha Kent, Superman goes crazy and kills everyone.
It goes
But brother, what? So if Aunt May's out of the picture and Uncle Ben, I love Uncle Ben. That rice is great. And Uncle Ben is gone.
No, Uncle Ben's not gone though. If Aunt May's gone, then Uncle Ben's there.
I mean, I feel like all we're doing, if this is how I've always interpreted your one's got to go. If we just remove Aunt May's from the story, right? Uncle Ben still gets killed by dude.
I know, that's my thought too. So Uncle Ben is still dead, and can you imagine Peter Parker just like, so check this out.
His mentor becomes what?
So how does Aunt May die? How does Aunt May die in this scenario?
Oh, hold on,
because that makes a difference in that would make a difference in how he kind of responds to it. So how would Aunt May die in this scenario?
I'm gonna give you one scenario right now and just throw it out there for you. Aunt May dies before Uncle Ben gets killed by that burglar. Okay, because it's only Uncle Ben and him, and Uncle Ben is still going with great responsibility. With great power takes great responsibility. All those mentoring, and then the robber gets Uncle Ben. So guess what, So Peter's without any parenting. Guess who steps in? Nick Fury. He becomes the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He becomes the Spider and becomes an assassin, dude. That's his future.
Man, I mean, but on top of all of that, you also got to keep in mind the Osborns. You got to keep in mind the fact that he worked.
All those cats, dude.
You got to keep in mind that he worked in the lab with the Dr. Octavius. Like, who becomes his mentor at that point?
Dude,
everything you guys are saying is making. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my answer because no matter how evil Spider-Man gets, he would never be able to cause the amount of damage that Superman could if he was evil.
Ray Scott, you have a great point, but I'm gonna throw this out there, just to be the advocate that I need to be for the devil. You're right, and Superman will cause a bad Superman that's crazy havoc. But think about if he said, "I have no mentors, I have nobody," gets in touch with Dr. Octopus or Osborn and said, "Hey, I need to confide in you. I have these powers." They're testing his blood. They're tweaking him out. They're using his scientific brain and his abilities. He might create some crazy shit. But it's never to any level like Superman. That's for sure.
Yes. Like, so that's the difference between a tomahawk missile versus an H-bomb. Like, that's literally the difference.
H-bomb. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very, very good, very good points there. Yeah, so I think that's all we got for this show. West Coast, we appreciate you.
Wait. We had the greatest and worst mamas.
Yeah, we did until you decided to no-show the first half of the episode.
Oh man, can I just run down like three?
You don't know how to just run down
moms.
something without having to run down to the store and grocery shop as well.
So look, regular. I have the Macho Man here. Can I just run down 3 for 3, please?
Okay.
All right. So I could do 5 for 5, but so the greatest moms. I know we just said it. I got Leslie Tompkins from DC for Batman. I got Martha Kent. I also got Frigga, Thor and Loki's mom.
That's 3.
And then just to add a little taste of some stuff, I do have May Parker down, and I do have Wonder Woman's mom. Now, the worst moms, Mystique, Daredevil's mom, who turned into a nun, and for some crazy reason, for Star Wars fans, I put Padme? I put
Padme
her down.
Amidala?
Yeah, but I feel like she's a bad mom.
She died.
I know, dude. I know that I'm being mad. So, in lieu of that, I did put Jessica Jones as a bad mom.
She does have a bad mom.
She's a terrible mom. She's a terrible mom, dude. Luke Cage is like, yo, I don't want to be crazy Power Man on you, but we got a baby together. Yeah, she's a terrible mom, dude. Terrible mom.
That's funny. Shout out to Paula, to Wonder Woman's mom. Shout out.
She's good. She's a good mama, dude. And actually, Jean Grey is a good mom when her and Scott got a chance to go into the far future and raise Cable for a little bit.
You know who's a really good mom and a terrible person?
Who?
Cersei Lannister.
Why do you say that?
Cersei Lannister is a great mom. She is an awful person.
I don't know that I agree with she's a great mom. She's a helicopter mom.
Yeah. She's one of them tiger moms. She's literally a tiger mom.
I think she's a good mom. I don't think she's a bad mom.
Wait, time out.
I think she loved her kids.
Well, that's a big part of it. A lot of parents don't love their kids, and a lot of parents aren't around and don't try to take care of their kid. Like, she tried to protect her kids from the truth because she knew how much it would devastate them. I know she's a terrible person, so she's going to get a lot of flack, but she was she was a good parent, and she proved that she would do anything for her kids.
For the get-go.
I feel like if we're going to use that, then I got to say that Catelyn Stark was a better mom.
That might be true,
totally.
but that doesn't make Cersei Lannister not a good mom either.
I don't think she's a good mom. I think she was very I think Jaime and Cersei from Jump Street were nothing but very self-interested, selfish folks. They all of their stuff, everything came out of their lust for each other. Yeah. Everything, all this junk came out of that. And so, I mean, you know what? Here, I know this turns into a whole Donahue, Oprah Winfrey, Maury, whatever current show you want to say. But dude, I get weirded out by that whole saying that she's a good mom. Which no, she was just a mom. She was acting like a mom. Yeah, you know, she was not a good mom.
I couldn't call her a good mom. I could call her a mom, though. I feel like she did what is required of a mom.
Dude, but
she didn't go above and beyond.
Macho, while still lusting and doing her dirt, you know.
Also true. Still
because here's my definition:
cousins or brothers.
Oh my God. Like there was so much shag, she should have opened up her own carpet emporium. Dude.
She could have.
You know, so here's the thing for you. You want to say she's a good mom? A good mom looks out for other people's kids too. So she was just a mom. That's it. Okay, that's my thought.
Well, nobody asked for your thought, but to West Coast's point, the Catelyn Stark thing, she can't be considered a good mom because she didn't treat Jon Snow fair.
Dude, but nah.
Yeah, by that logic, she also treated Jon Snow like a bastard.
But if that's your stepchild, if that is your stepchild and you've accepted that that's your stepchild, then you have that doesn't mean you get to just treat them any way you want.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
She went into that knowing what the deal was.
That's also true. Now, what I can say about Catelyn Stark though is that she got that when she was young. That was sort of thrust upon her as a young bride.
True that.
Now, when she got older, like you start looking at the way she started taking care of everybody, pretty much. Anybody she came across, she was trying to help. Brienne of Tarth is the name that comes to mind more so than all.
Macho. She was raised in an environment, if you do something wrong, I'm going to throw you down a hole and you're just going to drop for thousands of feet.
The Vale was a crazy place.
Yo, dude. Come on, man. See, here's my thing. Cersei was given everything and did the minimum just for herself. Caitlyn was raised in a crazy environment, but she adapted and tried to be better than herself, man.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like by the end, Cat Stark became a much better mother. Initially, I'm with you. So she really did treat Jon like shit. But it was something that was thrust upon her when she was young. And I don't necessarily expect young people to make the right decisions all the time.
Yeah. You know, you whether you want to believe the old saying that you have a soul or you grow into a soul, dude, you have to you grow into what it means to like care for another person. You know, people are like, oh my gosh, she's got unconditional love. No, you don't. You have conditional love because that's your child. You know, so just saying, she had to grow into all that stuff, man. That's hard for her.
Okay, Oz. Let's get to our final blows.
You know what I mean? That's really
no, Oz. We don't have time for any more of your rants. No more rants, Oz. No more rants. We don't have time. We don't have time.
You don't understand.
We don't have time, Oz. That's what you get for showing up late. Maybe if you show up on time, you'll have more time to do your rants.
I just got one more thing to say.
You always have something else.
Hey, yo, I got one more. Hey, yo, Tara, the mom from the Herculoids, she was a good mom.
Okay. West Coast, what you got for the final blow?
Final blow. Gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure. Every time I get to grace the mic with y'all, it cracks me up. I learned something new.
Did you just call him West Coast?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, my God.
Every time.
But I know his name. You didn't even know his name was Macho Man Vandal Savage. I knew his name. I know his name. I introduced him on the show as that.
Time out. We've discussed this many eons ago, many a moon cycle ago. Macho Man Vandal Savage. We know this, but you just called it West Coast.
Yeah, I've been calling him West Coast the whole show. The only reason I brought that up is because you didn't know his name, and you kept calling him the Mighty J because you didn't know his name.
Oh my God! No, I didn't. That's not
I know
true.
you didn't. I know you didn't. That's why I asked you. That's why I knew you didn't know.
Time out. That is absolutely not true. I called him the Mighty J because I love anytime I have an interaction with West Coast, because he always brings up something that's going to make me ponder something for the next couple of weeks, as I said many times. So chill out there, homie. I want to get back to the nitty gritty here. So whether you want to call him the Macho Man or the Macho saying, I don't care, dude. Just say it, dude. This cat, dude. It's a pleasure to have this dude on the show just to get down with the nerd. That's what I'm saying.
Yep, that's what I was saying too. I enjoy it thoroughly, man. Like you guys make me smile. You make me think. You make me look at stuff in different ways. I just gave me 2 new books to read, which I literally did. Like while we were talking, I was scrolling through DC Universe, like, found them. So I'm getting ready to go get involved in Injustice versus Masters Universe. That sounds awesome.
Plug your show.
Got to plug. Hey, man, that's what I was doing, man. Come on, man. Let me get in. For all the listeners out there, please check out Unsupervised, the spinoff podcast. Money, Hollywood, Paul, and myself. We tend to stay a little bit more either political or other. Not much comics, but But we have a good time. We enjoy the show, and we had a great time when Oz and Scott were on that. That was awesome.
It's good. It's current affairs and sports. It's good stuff, man. It's really smart. Like
we had fun. Like y'all made me laugh. I got to sit back like Scott and listen to some rants. I got to listen to regular Scott rant about stuff for a minute. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, man, Unsupervised the Spinoff Podcast. Email us at any given point. Unsupervised at GoToFireLife.com. Check us out. All the places that Scott tells you to listen to stuff. And yeah, man, like I say on that show all the time. Thank you again to all of the first responders, to all of the frontline employees, to all of the doctors, nurses, and anybody else in healthcare, anybody that's putting your life on the line right now so that you can deal with all the rest of these people. Big shout out and a big fuck you to the protesters that are showing up with guns and shit on governors. Amen. That's ridiculous. In general, like I said, be excellent to one another. Treat each other the way you want to be treated. And that's all I got.
Yes.
It's final blow.
Final blow. It's a pleasure to have the macho West Coast Vandal Jay on here. And I will say this. I want to say this, like, to piggyback, man, it cannot be said enough in these times. Literally. Treat people the way you want them to treat you. Now, if you got something in you where you really want to be treated bad and disrespected, hold that inside yourself and still treat people good. Because you should be able to jog. You should be able to do whatever you want to do as an American citizen without the threat of your life. You know, it's precious, man. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We all should be able to have that. That's my final blow.
Okay. So to kind of echo the sentiments again, Macho Man Vandal Savage, we appreciate you being on. Thank you for filling in for Oz since he no-showed for the first couple hours. Or I tried to call him, no-showed the family meeting, just been no-show all day. So we appreciate you filling in. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Great insight. As always, you know, for my final blows, I like to try to promote a different podcast. And this week, I am actually going to promote a couple new podcasts on the network that are going to be debuting here. Or actually, they might have already debuted. I haven't listened to the first episode yet, but I'm very intrigued and very much looking forward to it. The first one is One Eye Shut, and that is going to be with the Kingpin, Mr. J.R. Glimpf and his wife, Al and his wife, and I believe Thomas Stevens and his wife. All of those three couples are going to be talking about marriage and the ins and outs, and just talking a little bit about everything. So that came out on the 7th of May. So definitely check that out. I'm really excited to check that out. I heard a couple. JR actually called me, and I think me and my wife are going to try to get on there, which would, if I can get my wife on a podcast, that'll be something. So it should be very interesting. I'm really excited about some of the things they were talking about, discussing, and some of the topics. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Check that out. One Eye Shut on the Defy Live Podcast Network. Definitely check that out. And as always, you can find us on Twitter at Need4MarvelVerseDC. You can also email us at needformarvelversedc@godefylife.com. Find us at defylifepods.com. You can also find Unsupervised, the spinoff, as Defy Life Pods as well. Oz, tell everyone we'll talk to them next time.
As usual, good people, peace, and chicken grease.
And y'all have a good time, because we're going to have a good time until we talk to y'all next time. Peace.
You know, what you doing?
Hey, yo, man, I want to ask you.
Welcome to the Anything, Everything, and Nothing podcast with Lynn and Kim. Join us as we discuss the latest in everything from entertainment and current events to the craziness that is our real life.
Let's laugh, let's live, let's talk about it. New episode every Tuesday on the Defy Life Podcast Network. And remember, if you're not defying life, then what are you doing? Lynn and Kim.